sounds starting now. Hey guys, welcome to episode 85 of 4PlayerAnimecast. It is the first episode of 2018. We are in the winter 28 season. We're just starting off with a bang. We're gonna get this is the 13th of January, and we are this season, as you know, we do in our usual seasons. We're gonna start kind of fast. We're gonna cover 4 or so series every podcast, and then we're gonna slow down, pick the ones that we like. Maybe go back, do some like quick reviews if it need be. The usual stuff, right? Anyways, new year, new anime. How are you guys doing? Nier?
Wow, I can't believe I haven't seen you guys since last year. Haha, look at me. I'm toast.
The only thing I just want is to like escape from that sort of shit. But yeah, what have you been up to these past 2 weeks?
Not much. I watched all of Devilman Crybaby, and I cried.
Nice. Okay, so Dark?
Hey, how's it going?
What's up?
I watched a lot of shows so far for the season.
Okay, so you want to list some of them?
Yeah, 99% of them were cozy. I watched Slow Start. I watched Yudo Camp. I watched oh fuck, what was it? It's the one I had talked about last night. The storybook
type the universe. Sorayori.
No, I actually haven't watched that yet, but I did watch the one with the little people, the 3-inch tall girls or whatever.
Mikochi, something Mikochi, right?
Yeah. I watched that.
Mikochi. Hakumeito Mikochi.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then I also watched Pop Team Epic. Though I don't know I don't know if it really counts as being watched.
Being watched, the state of being watched.
Yeah. And been keeping up with the stuff that continued. Mahotsukai no Yome.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good first episode of the second half. So that's about it.
Okay, pretty good coverage. A toast.
You mad, bro?
God, fucking damn it! So you watched Pop Team Epic, Toast.
I'm gonna
what else did you watch?
I also watched Overlord.
Overlord season 2.
Death March.
Death March, standard.
That one about colors and RPGs.
Mitsubishi Colors?
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
I watched that one too.
And then you also watched Cardcaptor Sakura Clear Card.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So pretty good range of stuff. As for me, I was a little bit busy running around here and there. I watched a little bit of Citrus. I watched Yuri Camp.
Is that the Yuri one?
Yes, it is. I watched Citrus.
That's the one that you were like, oh, I love this manga. I reread it a few times, right?
No.
Really? You were the one who knew the most about it. Pretty sure.
Yeah, I do know the most about it. I said it was very specifically a very guilty pleasure.
Well, that means you have reread it a couple times, right?
No.
Have I reread it? No, I don't think I've reread it. I just said it was a guilty pleasure.
Oh, I also forgot. I read that. I watched that Forehead anime. I don't remember the name. All I remember is Forehead
anime.
Oh,
Takagi-san, yeah.
Takagi-san, yeah. I watched that as well.
Okay. Yeah, Karakaijo's and Takagi-san, the one about the schoolgirl that likes teasing, whatever.
More like teasing that forehead. Yuck.
But yeah, I went around, watching a little bit of stuff here and there. Citrus again, as I said, Pop Team Epic with Dark. We have a live reaction to some of the episode 1, which we're going to be releasing shortly on our site, as well as on our various social media. And Eurocamp season 1, episode 1, excuse me. And I think I just watched Slow Start. I need to actually record that on my thing too. But I watched episode 1 of Slow Start, and that was nice too. But a lot of it's been me kind of running around. Also, some again, as I said before, a lot of like visual novels and stuff have come out recently. I've pretty much had to even start pretty much cut down on my web novel, light novel stuff. I haven't read them in like 3+ weeks, I think now. And so I've been kind of lonely without them, but visual novels.
Wow, Spire,
Hey.
you sure sound busy. It's like I haven't seen you since last year.
God damn it. Two drops. But yeah, it's I've also, watched here and there, but I'm really, again, as I said, I'm really looking forward to, checking out more stuff this season, because winter season, again, is the one season where a lot of experimental, smaller series, smaller studios come out to play. A lot of, the new people, get roles and stuff like that. And it's nice to see. But anyways, let's get right into it. The first series up to bat. Oh, actually, wait. One thing. I actually wanted to talk about this one thing before. Actually, no. I'm gonna talk about it later when we get to the more relevant portion. But it was a thing that we were talking about here, right, just before the podcast. But I want to put that on when we get to our more relevant series. But the first thing that we do want to cover is Dark. You want to start out?
Yeah, so we're gonna cover Slow Start.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's not by Jason.
no, you keep doing that. It's
I
A1.
apologize. Sorry.
I think it's a few studios. I don't know
It's headed by
exactly
A1.
how
It's
many.
headed by
Yeah,
A1.
it's headed by A1 and with a lot. Well, I think a significant of like the art done by Silverlink as well, which you can kind of tell by the eyes and just the characters overall.
Yeah.
But the production is very much more A1. So the series is about a girl who had to take a year off of like her schooling between middle school and high school, and so now she's a year behind everyone else essentially.
What, is she stupid?
No, it's explained in episode 2. She got sick and couldn't take the entrance exams.
What an idiot.
So that's like kind of the main crux of her like character's like sort of anxiety and getting into situations like sort of shenanigans.
How do you do,
because she doesn't tell anyone. Yeah, pretty much.
This is an anime original, right? Not a manga edit.
Wow.
Manga original.
I actually don't know.
Google it.
Can't believe you wouldn't
It's a
have
manga.
this
It's a manga yonkoma. It's a manga yonkoma original. 4-panel. That started out, and then it got adapted into anime. Yeah.
So that's pretty much like the crux of it. She goes to like a school, to like different people. She didn't be, and all of her friends and like everyone know that. So that's kind of where we pick up.
Oh, this explains a lot. So the person who actually wrote this, I actually know her, or I guess it's her. Yeah, it's her, right? Yeah, I actually know her because she like drew 1 million like sake dojins of that. The older girl who keeps like flipping the mahjong like things. Like her like shenanigans, like she like flicks the mahjong things, the tile, right, up in the air. And then the other girl who has heterochromia, right? Those two girls. Dark, you know what I'm talking about, right? You watched Sake.
I didn't actually get that far in Sake, I'm gonna be honest with you.
I
got pretty far, but not far enough apparently.
But yeah, those she drew like 1 million doses of those girls. That's where I realized the art from. But anyways, go on.
Damn. So yeah, that's pretty much the crux of like, the plot. Obviously it's just a slice of life kind of standard setup in a way. So I guess like where this show for me stood out was the audio visuals, at least for episode 1.
So many moving frames.
There are so many frames, and also I kind of included in my own notes for like audio visuals, the voice actors, most like pretty much the entire main cast is newcomers. So we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But to start, for what?
You say there's so many frames, but like, what kind of frames? Like, what's being animated?
So it's a lot of like motion in hair,
like moving arms and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, and like cloth and clothes. In the first episode, and like hands, especially like there's a lot of like fluidity to like the actual fingers when they do emotion rather than just like
it's just whenever I hear
silly
like
stuff.
whenever I hear something whenever somebody says there's a lot of frames in a slice of life series, I immediately think over animation, right? Like, because that is a thing, you know, they're like forced movement. Like this character's making very unnatural movements just to show off that
they're sort of like trying
we
to
have an
force this,
animator. Like
it's like pseudo sakuga, and like or whatever that sakuga thing is. Yeah,
you know, there were like there's like a moment or two of that's pretty apparent in that Anthem of the Heart movie. You know, where like people are pouring out all their emotions and they're like flailing around and like it looks nice. You know, it's good animation, but it's not natural movement. I just wanted to ask about that.
So that's really only apparent at one in the very beginning where it becomes apparent, and like it's I guess it's like more forgivable because this is like, you know, like comedy slice of life sort of thing, like cozier girl stuff. So they like really heavily animate one of the characters in the beginning. With like her hair,
the older cousin,
the main character's older cousin.
Around just like a lot.
Yeah, so and she does like a lot of like more unnatural like twirl type motion things too, but it's sort of like the scene kind of it's not that it like calls for it, but it works enough for that. But the rest of the episode is more toned down because like the other characters aren't as I don't really know how to describe her character. But yeah, the other characters aren't as emotive in that way. There is an energetic character though that is very emotive, but gets a more I want to say like less.
It's much more standard animation. They're just like drawing her like kind of moving around, but they don't draw her in detail because she's usually like kind of amongst the other characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it also like when she waves her arms at one point, like they blur that heavily.
Yeah,
and stuff like that. So it's not as over animated in that way. But yeah, so that's pretty much like visual wise. Kind of like the standout thing for me was that there was a lot more effort in the visuals than I expected. It does dip a little bit in episode 2, which is fine because that just meant episode 2 is more standard. Animation wise. But what does kind of keep up, and I liked in episode 1 as well, was the audio. The soundtrack was really nice. There were a few tracks that were a little standout, unless it's one track that's just longer. But there was one track in particular that has like sort of subdued-ish vocals that is a really nice compliment to the style of the show itself. And on a somewhat similar note, the OP is also pretty good. It has
the shading reminded me. The shading near the end, and I guess some of the characters kind of remind me of Kochiusa in a sense, but like with slightly like stronger lines. But
I can see that.
What was kind of curious to me, and again, I'll focus a little bit more on the sort of the character development kind of stuff. But it's like what was interesting to me was that. And maybe this comes from the sort of like quieter Yuri dojins that this writer used to draw. But you know how a lot of these times it's like when the awkward girl or the awkward main girl kind of comes in to the scene, it's like this girl is there, she meets her friends, and then the friends kind of interact around her, right? And it's like, oh, you know, what are you doing? It's like, oh, here's, you know, let us introduce you to this new thing or this new event or this club. Come with us. We're gonna do this. Hey, you know, we're gonna drag you here, blah blah, right? And it's all like a lot of it's not only just the events, but a lot of the talking revolves around the main character. You know what I mean? However, in Slow Start, a lot of the talking is also done at a distance from the character. So the MC is acting much more as an observer to, you know, these girls having fun and doing whatever and kind of appreciating it, kind of soaking it in, rather than being swept up in the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and actually, thanks for bringing that up because I completely didn't put much thought into like that for discussion points, but that was a really cool touch to it because in a lot of situations, like the fact that the setup for her character was like sort of this anxiety almost about being in, like being the older person essentially in the class and no one knows, and trying to like hide that. The whole like observation sort of scene that happens was like a really nice touch that I guess like it should be there, but in a lot of ways, like you can see like how they might not have done that in another situation. Like the series might not have something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like it is relatable in a sense because like a lot of times other people tend to sit back. We know like all of these sort of quiet people who kind of sit back and tend to not like necessarily be completely out of it. I mean, sometimes they put themselves out of the group, but a lot of times they kind of just sit there and kind of listen and kind of soak it in, right? So it's like having the main protagonist, the protagonist do that, and not only having the protagonist do that, but also knowing that she's sort of this. She might be this loner, or she has this apprehension of being a loner, but also she's getting used to being with friends, being a loner, not through, getting sucked up in the blender, but by kind of observing, they're nice people, or, they say stuff or they do stuff that, oh, I might get used to, I might, chip in at this point, or stuff like that. It's it's a point that's not done as often in a recent series.
Yeah, and another nice touch too is that it's very apparent in the first episode, especially that, like the way the other characters kind of like forcefully introduce themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like they put themselves out there for the main character, rather than the other way around. And they're very aware that like the main character, like they're really aware of what like the main character is like kind of going through. Like they're not aware of obviously the specific situation, but the sort of idea that since the three of them know each other,
right?
They're obviously very aware that the main character is sort of like the outsider to them.
Right. It's I mean, I don't because it's only like 1 or 2 episodes. I don't have too much more to say about it, but I do hope that it kind of right now it's doing an pretty decent job of balancing between this sort of like, again, this more introspection, like, oh, I am a loner, but maybe I can kind of get along. How do I specifically, talk more with these people? Not necessarily like, oh, just be friends, do fun things with friends, but like, how do I even just like communicate decently with these people? That sort of thing I hope that's explored well in tangent with the sort of random events, the slice of life 4 girls events that will happen probably throughout the series. I hope that's balanced a little bit better. But other than that, I mean, I don't really have too much to say. This is relatively standard except for those few variants. So pretty comfy series overall, I think, though.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. And I guess like somewhat moving on, another main like kind of grab that I'm sticking with the series for is the fact that the main the main 4 characters, I say kind of, which will be clear in a bit. They're kind of all new.
Yeah.
The girl on stream that you're seeing with the green eyes, that's her first role as a voice actor.
Voice actress, by the way, yeah.
Yeah. That's Minuichi Tomomoy?
Tomomi, yeah.
Yeah.
That's that's essentially her. They don't even have a photo of her on My Anime Tomomi.
Yeah, so like that's pretty interesting. And then there's Kondo Reina.
Yeah, Kondo Reina is the main one.
Kondo Reina is the main character. And she started in 2017, but wait, she started in 2017 and has only had like 3 other roles.
Yeah.
Her quote unquote, I guess like her major role would be Kimono Friends, and then there was also Just Because. And
she had a little bit of, but they were all like pretty like supporting roles kind of stuff. But
yeah,
she does sound a little bit. I mean, she's taking relatively standard, sort of like lolly, like pitched voice, but a lot of voice actors have been kind of cast into this area recently. But it's like her voice is a little bit more like on the narrow, on the stronger side, as opposed to somebody like again Ogura Yui. I was pointing out to Dark, who has a more sort of like wispy like something that you would often hear in like like pop songs, right? For instance. So it's a difference between those sorts of voices.
Yeah, and so she's doing a real good job. They're all really doing a real good job.
Yeah.
The really interesting case was the other character with the twin
girl?
tails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ayasa, I believe is the voice actor's name.
Yes, and the interesting thing about her is that she apparently was. She had started in 2013 with Milky Holmes, and then just had a complete dry spell until Bang Dream in 2017.
Yeah, pretty much Bang Dream and Car Fight kind of like scooped her out.
Yeah, and which is nice because her voice is like really, really, to me at least, I think it's pretty distinct with how like kind of. Yeah, I guess like it's sort of nasally in a way.
And she keeps up the energy. She's portraying a Genki girl in this one, but she keeps up the energy very well.
Yeah, so her voice like is really standing out. Like I figured she was like a complete newcomer. I guess like she's technically not, but I definitely knew that I had not heard her before when I had first heard her. So that was really nice to hear as well. Especially, and the really cool thing about all four of these voice actors is that there's also Naganawa Maria, which is kind of like I said like this is why I said kind of.
Yeah, she's become a meme because of Kana, right?
Yeah, so it's like she was kind of new. Like she started in 2015, and hasn't had like too many roles, but. She was Kana in Dragon Maid, so she's not really.
People have that sort of fetish for this, like sort of like the chill lolly voice, right? So it's like,
yeah. So that's why I say kind of. It's kind of not real, and especially not nearly as much as the other voice actors. So.
Right.
But what is nice is that the OP is sang by all of them. So. It's pretty cool to have not only like these new voice actors, but then also have the OP done by them as well, performed by them.
Right.
Especially considering one of them it's their first role, and they also got into the OP. So that's pretty cool.
Profusely. It's like, quick, you're singing this opening right now. Wait, what? You also have to sing a character.
Yeah. So that was pretty interesting to see, and also that. Like, their supporting characters of the series are pretty big named voice actors, to say the least. Yeah, so for example, like the teacher is voiced by Numakura Manami, and the
Numakura Manami, famous for her role in Hibiki as the Idol Master, right? Hibiki,
yeah, and then another character that has not been introduced yet. I think she's supposed to be like. The cousin's friend as a supporting character is Uchida Maya.
Yes, Uchida Maya, Hikasa Yoko, Koyama Rikia, who is a pretty famous male voice actor, and then